Good morning, everyone. As mentioned, I'm an executive committee member and effectively global head of sales at Henley and Partners. Henley and Partners is not a crypto company. We're not directly involved in blockchain or Web3 or anything like this, but we do advise successful founders of these companies as well as crypto investors around the world with gaining either residence by investment or citizenship by investment in a number of countries globally. So we've got now 40 offices around the world. We do two things. So we work with wealthy individuals who are looking to acquire additional passports or second or third passports through government-regulated investment migration programs. We also advise governments themselves on how to design and implement what's known as investment migration programs. We've raised over $12 billion over the last 3 decades. And as I said, we've got quite a significant global footprint. We serve clients with over 100 different nationalities around the world. So this is not just for those that are in emerging markets. Our biggest market now is actually the US. So we have more American clients than we do Chinese or Filipino, Indian, Nigerian, or South African like myself. So we're talking about two things. We're talking about residence and citizenship. And I guess the obvious question is, why would someone consider these things? So if we look at residence, residence is gives you the ability to reside in a specific country. It gives you the ability to work and your children to go to school in that country. And of course, where you look at citizenship, this is your passport. And most crucially for a lot of our clients, especially in this space, is your passport allows you your international travel. So I'm a South African citizen. My passport is not a very good travel document. I need a visa pretty much everywhere I want to travel. But if I'm a successful entrepreneur and I want to grow my business globally, I'm looking for greater global mobility. And so I might consider getting a second passport from certain jurisdictions that are much better travel documents. Another thing we do is we track the movement of wealth around the world. So you can see on this slide that consistently over the last decade, millionaires are becoming more and more mobile. We obviously had the blip during the COVID years. We forecast this year that number to get up to almost 125,000 millionaires. And here, this is an actual physical relocation. So this is individuals with a high net worth of at least $1 million. That's net investable assets that physically relocate to another country for more than 6 months a year. And if we look at the countries that see the greatest net inflows and net outflows of millionaires, I guess it's no surprise on the left-hand side, you see a lot of countries, more emerging markets, more wealth creation happening, and as people become wealthier, they also become more mobile. I'll get into some of the reasons why people move. And then on the right-hand side, you see those countries that are seeing a net inflow of those millionaires. So again, no surprise, countries like Singapore and the UAE, where I'm based, seeing a net inflow of millionaires. And then just last week, we released our crypto wealth report, where we actually track the number of crypto-based and Bitcoin-based millionaires whose net worth is based purely on their crypto holdings. So interesting numbers there. And you can see the total number, the total number of users. This is the inaugural report that we released last week. I've got a QR code at the end of my deck if you want to get access to the report. And of course, these are individuals now that we see a significant increase in inquiries looking for citizenship and residence by investment around the world. Here, I've just sort of mapped out, as I said earlier, looking at different citizenship and residence by investment is not just for those in politically or economic uncertainty countries, but actually we see a lot of interest now from developed markets. So if you take the UK as an example, since Brexit, a lot of wealthy Brits no longer have the freedom of settlement in Europe. So there we see a lot of interest. In Europe, of course, there's conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and there we see a lot of Europeans also coming to us for their plan B. They're looking for either residence or citizenship outside of Europe as a hedge against such volatility. In terms of residence, so I think quite obvious why someone would look for an alternative residence. And when I speak here, we don't do skilled visas, we don't do sort of expat relocating. This is just for high net worth individuals who have the financial capacity to invest into a country, and in return for that investment, they get either a resident permit, or sometimes it's called a golden visa. It can be permanent residence. And so a lot of reasons for that. And tax, of course, can come into it. If I'm based in a high tax jurisdiction and I can physically acquire residence in another jurisdiction that's more tax friendly, I can make use of that. A lot of our families that we advise also look at this from a healthcare, access to better education and other things. And then when we talk about citizenship, the biggest driver here is really, as I mentioned earlier, the ability to acquire a better travel document. And there's a number of countries in the world, again, where you can invest into the country, you can become a citizen without having to physically move there, without having to learn a new language. Part of our crypto wealth report was to develop this crypto adoption index, where we looked at a number of parameters such as crypto public adoption, other economic factors, and of course, importantly, taxation. Because around the world, many countries are now becoming more aggressive on their fiscal and taxation policies, particularly towards crypto. So what we did with this is we looked at all of the countries around the world that offer investment migration. And then across those 6 parameters, we developed a ranking system to identify those that are more attractive for crypto investors. And so again, you can see Singapore at the top of the list there. I won't go into the details of all the programs that we offer, because that's effectively a snapshot of all the different programs that are available. So this is a mix of both residence and citizenship by investment. And these are the countries that we assist our clients with. There's about 100 countries globally that have some form of regulation or legislation in place that does allow for investment migration. But in reality, there's only about 30 or 40 that have an attractive, successful program that's available. So if you look in North America, Canada has a very interesting startup visa that's available for anywhere between 150 and 250,000 Canadian dollars, and that gives you permanent residence in Canada. In the US, you have the EB-5 program, which is an $800,000 investment. That goes into a regional center. That regional center effectively builds a project which creates 10 jobs, and on that basis, you get a green card to the US. Most of the sort of what we refer to as the tier 1 countries, like Canada, the US, UK, Australia, they have residence by investment, where you can invest to get residence. That does actually give you a pathway to citizenship, but you've really got to earn it. You've got to physically go and move to that country, usually learn a language, pass the citizenship test, and eventually you can naturalize as a citizen, but that's a lot of work. So most of our clients are not looking to physically relocate. So our clients are mobile, high net worth individuals, but that typically want to stay in the country where their business is or where they're made their life. And so that's why the golden visas in Europe are very attractive, because they don't have any physical presence requirements in order to maintain your residence. So if you look at Europe, you can see there's a lot of options available. In terms of direct to citizenship by investment, we can assist this for ultra high net worths in Austria and in Malta. So these are, of course, EU members. So not only do you get a passport that gives you visa-free access to 180 or more countries, it's almost as strong as a Singapore passport, but you're an EU member citizen. So you effectively have settlement rights across the whole of the European Union. So, we've had clients that have acquired citizenship in Malta. They've moved to Italy, their children are working in Germany and studying in Sweden. So it really is the ultimate sort of flexibility. The other one there, if we're looking at Europe, is Turkey. So Turkey does also have a citizenship by investment program. In Turkey, you can invest $400,000 into real estate, which you can sell after 3 years, or you can put $500,000 onto a fixed deposit in a bank account. And then maybe I'll say a few things about the Caribbean as well. So the Caribbean has 5 of these independent Commonwealth countries where you can acquire citizenship through a significant investment. So the Caribbean has, the model is the same across the 5 countries. You either donate money to a government fund, or you can buy real estate. So the donation can range anywhere from $100,000 US to $250,000 for a family, or you can invest into real estate anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000, which you can sell after 5 years. But the whole process can be done remotely. We have teams on all the islands. We have that large global presence, and so we can assist clients to acquire citizenship by investment in the Caribbean completely remotely. And the reason for that, as I said, they're Commonwealth countries, so they have very good passports from a travel perspective. So if you become a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, as an example, I can donate $100,000 to the government, and my family of 4 will get passports which now give us visa-free access to the whole European Schengen area, to the UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, and 150-odd other countries. If you look at the Middle East, so I'm based in Dubai. The Middle East also now starts to launch their own investment migration programs, and particularly in Dubai itself, they have these golden visas, 10-year golden visas that are available. That's available if you invest 2 million dirhams, so about 550,000 US into real estate, or purely if you're a very successful highly qualified senior executive that earns over 30,000 dirhams, about $10,000 a month. So the golden visas in Dubai are very popular. Another thing we see with a lot of our clients is actually they develop a portfolio of these. So you don't only have to do one citizenship by investment program. The way the world is, the way I can truly protect my family is actually to have multiple bases around the world. If anything, COVID taught us as well is that I don't have to live outside the factory door. So I can do my job anywhere. So why wouldn't I get a Dubai golden visa, a Caribbean passport that gives me 6 months a year in the UK, and maybe permanent residence down in Australia and New Zealand, a Thailand elite visa, and then I can move with my family to 3 or 4 jurisdictions around the world quite easily because I actually have developed a portfolio of residence and citizenship. So that's pretty much it from me. I know it's probably a different topic to what you've mostly heard today and yesterday. As I said, that QR code there will give you access to all of our reports and indexes and thought leadership that we do put out. And if anyone has any questions or would like to find out more, please come and have a word. Thank you.